I returned from the notary to tell my son and DIL that my brother left me 3 apartments, and I learned the true price of love. My name is James, and I am 60 years old. At this stage of life, you think you've already faced your biggest surprises. You believe the sharp turns are behind you, that whatever remains will be gentle and predictable. I believed that too, until the day I walked home from the notary's office with an envelope tucked under my arm and a storm forming quietly inside my chest. That envelope didn't just carry legal documents. It carried truth, the kind of truth that rearranges families. I stood at the crosswalk outside the office building for a long time, ignoring the green light, watching people hurry past with their heads down. No one knew that my entire sense of belonging had just shifted. No one knew that my late brother, silent, stubborn Robert, had reached from beyond the grave and changed my life. Inside that envelope was confirmation that Robert had left me 3 apartments. 3. Not one. Not a symbolic gesture, but a life-altering inheritance. And I hadn't asked for any of it. The brother who never said much, but meant everything. Robert was 7 years older than me. When we were boys, he was my shadow and my shield. When our father drank too much and our mother cried in the kitchen, Robert would take me outside and teach me how to throw stones into the river, telling me, "Aim steady, James. Life's easier when you don't rush." He never married, never had children. He worked as a maintenance supervisor for decades, saving quietly, investing modestly, never showing off. People underestimated him constantly. They mistook his silence for simplicity. But Robert noticed everything. When he got sick, most relatives sent texts. Some promised to visit soon. I showed up. I drove him to chemotherapy. I shaved his beard when his hands trembled. I listened when he talked about regrets at 3 in the morning, when the pain medication wore off and the room felt too honest. One night he looked at me and said, "Funny thing, James. People think love is loud, but it's not, it's who stays." I didn't realize he was writing his will in his head. The walk that changed my heart. Leaving the notary's office, I didn't feel rich. I felt exposed. I thought about my son, Michael, and his wife, Laura. I knew how this would sound to them. I knew how quickly congratulations could turn into, "So what's next?" Still, they were my family, my blood. Surely love would guide the conversation. I practiced the sentence in my head as I walked. Robert left me 3 apartments. It sounded unreal, no matter how many times I said it silently. I paused outside their house, feeling the familiar knot of anxiety that had followed me my entire adult life. The anxiety of a man who had always been needed, but rarely prioritized. A table full of expectations. Inside, the house smelled like garlic and onions. Laura was cooking. Michael was scrolling on his phone. My grandchildren ran toward me, wrapping their arms around my legs. That hug nearly broke me. We sat down to eat, and I cleared my throat. "I went to the notary today," I said. Laura looked up immediately. "And Robert left me something." Michael smiled. "Good, he always appreciated you." "Yes," I said, "he left me 3 apartments." The air changed. Laura stopped chewing. Michael leaned forward. The children kept eating, blissfully unaware of the invisible line that had just been crossed. 3, Michael asked. "In the city," Laura added. I nodded. Laura's eyes gleamed, not with joy for me, but with sudden possibility. "Well, that's life-changing." "Yes," I said quietly, "it is." She smiled tightly. "So, have you thought about how you'll divide them?" I blinked. "Divide them?" "Well," she continued, "you'll obviously live in one, but the others." Michael jumped in. "Dad, this could solve so many problems for all of us." I felt something heavy settle in my chest. "Not for me. For us. When love comes with conditions." They spoke as if the apartments had already changed hands. Laura talked about school districts. Michael mentioned investments. They didn't ask how I felt. They didn't ask what Robert meant to me. They didn't ask if I was okay. At one point, Laura said, "You've already lived your life. This is about the next generation." I looked at my son, my little boy who once needed help tying his shoes, and realized he had quietly decided my chapter was finished. That night, I went home and cried for the first time since Robert's funeral. Not because of the money, because I felt invisible. The choice I was afraid to make. I spent days thinking, walking, remembering. I remembered skipping vacations so Michael could go to college, remembered covering emergency rent without hesitation, remembered saying it's fine when it was. And I remembered Robert's voice. Aim steady. When I called them over again, my hands didn't shake. "I've made my decision," I said. Laura smiled in anticipation. "I'm keeping all 3 apartments." The silence was sharp. "That's not fair," Laura snapped. "Fair to whom?" I asked. Michael stood up. "You're choosing comfort over family." "No," I said gently. "I'm choosing myself for the first time. The loneliest freedom." They cut contact. Weeks passed, holidays came and went. But something unexpected happened in the quiet. I moved into one of the apartments. I decorated it how I wanted. I slept without worry. I started living instead of surviving. And I realized something painful but freeing. Anyone who loves you only when you are useful does not love you. The return. Months later, Michael knocked on my door alone. "I forgot," he said, eyes wet, "that you're my father, not my safety net." I hugged him. The moral. I am 60 years old now, and this is what I know. Money doesn't ruin families. Silence does, entitlement does, fear does. And love, real love, never assumes, never demands, never keeps score. My brother left me 3 apartments, but the greatest thing he gave me was the courage to finally claim my own life.